So today, we're going to dive into Cal Newport's Deep Work. It's a book built on this one really powerful idea. In a world that is basically designed to distract us, the ability to truly focus, well, that's a superpower. Let's get right into it.
You ever have one of those days? You are just slammed from morning till night. You're answering emails, you're jumping between a million tasks, you're in and out of meetings, but then the day ends, and you kind of lean back and think, what did I actually get done today? It's a feeling we all know way too well.
And here's the big insight from Newport. Our entire idea of what it means to be productive is, well, it's kind of broken. We've started to think that all that activity, looking busy, being super responsive, is the same as creating value. But what if all that frantic energy is the very thing holding us back from doing the work that really, truly matters? So Newport basically splits all work into two buckets. On one side, you've got deep work. This is where you're in the zone, that intense, unbroken focus where the real breakthroughs happen. And on the other side, that's shallow work. Think emails, scheduling, scrolling through social media feeds. These things are easy for sure, and they definitely make you feel busy, but they almost never move the needle on your biggest goals. And here is the great paradox. Our modern world, especially our workplaces with the open offices and the constant notifications, they're practically factories for shallow work. They're actively designed to discourage the very skill that's becoming one of the most valuable assets in our economy. This all leads to the book's core argument, the deep work hypothesis. It's pretty simple, actually. Because real deep work is getting so hard to find, anyone who actually masters it gets this massive competitive advantage. It's just classic supply and demand, right? When the supply is low and the demand is high, the value skyrockets. Okay, so let's break this down into three key takeaways from the book. First up, the idea that deep work isn't just a nice to have. It's a flat-out economic superpower. Newport says that to really succeed today, you need two skills more than anything else. First, you have to be able to learn complicated stuff fast. And second, you need to produce high-quality work and do it consistently. And guess what? Both of those abilities depend almost entirely on your capacity for deep, uninterrupted concentration. A good way to think about it is like a muscle. You can't just walk into a gym one time and expect to be strong, right? Well, concentration is the exact same way. It's a skill, it takes training, and you have to push past that initial discomfort of boredom or distraction. But every time you do, you're making that focus muscle stronger. All right, so if deep work is so incredibly valuable, why are most of us so bad at it? Well, that brings us to takeaway number 2. The modern world is literally built to keep us in the shallows. Get a load of this. A McKinsey study that Newport cites in the book found that the average knowledge worker spends more than 60% of their week on things like email and just searching for information online. That is a huge chunk of time spent on activities that are, by definition, shallow and produce very little real value. So why on earth do we do this to ourselves? Well, there are a couple of big reasons. First, our brains are just wired to take the easy way out, the path of least resistance. Clearing your inbox feels good and it's easy. Solving a really complex strategic problem, that's hard. And second, in a lot of jobs, it's actually really difficult to measure what someone is producing. So what do? We use busyness as a stand-in. A full calendar and a constantly buzzing inbox look like productivity, even when they're not. And that leads us to our final and maybe the most practical takeaway. You can't just sit around and wait for the feeling of focus to strike you like lightning. You have to build a system for it. I absolutely love this quote. It just nails the idea perfectly. Elite performance, real creativity, it doesn't just come from some mystical inspiration. Nope, it comes from structured, disciplined, consistent effort. It's the accountant part, the system that actually lets the artist part shine. And Newport offers 4 different approaches, not just a one-size-fits-all rule. You've got the monastic style, which is about radically cutting out the shallow stuff. There's bimodal, where you split your time, like a few days for deep work, a few days for everything else. Rhythmic is about building a daily habit, say a couple hours every morning. And journalistic is for people who have to squeeze in deep work whenever they can. The main point is you have to be intentional about it. And this is really where the book becomes more than just a productivity guide. The argument Newport makes is that the act of engaging in deep work, of really losing yourself in a challenging task and creating something valuable, is one of the most satisfying human experiences. It makes your work, and honestly your life, feel more significant. This quote from the author Winifred Gallagher just wraps it all up so beautifully. The whole point of deep work isn't just about climbing the career ladder. It's about crafting a life of purpose and engagement simply by being deliberate about where you place your attention.
Ultimately, in this age of constant distraction, your ability to focus is your power. And this book is a roadmap to help you cultivate it. It really leaves us all with one final, very important question. Your attention is finite. It's one of your most valuable assets. So, what are you going to build with it?